Hello, everybody, and welcome to Norm, the Cheers podcast that isn't. It's me, Mike. It's Dave. It's Tookie. We're welcoming you to 2023. And you know, they say you can judge how a year is going to be by the first episode of Cheers you watch inside of it. And so I would like to welcome you all to a completely mediocre and forgettable year. 2023. Are you sure you watched it?
I watched it twice in 12 hours, and I'm still not sure I fully, I absorbed any of it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I kind of did roughly the same thing. I watched it last week because we thought we might do it last week. We apologize to everybody. We could not get our schedules together, post Christmas. And we were trying to do it. We couldn't do it, but just in case we got it together last minute, I watched again this week, and I was like, none of this stuck with me. That's amazing. And I remember last week thinking like, all right, well, I'm not dying to get on TV and talk about this one. Not that this is TV, but I'm not dying to rehash the book of Samuel, but it's my job. And I do my job. That's what I do.
I had my first quarter pounder with cheese in probably 10 years last week. Mm-hmm. And this was a strikingly similar experience in that it was fine. And then within 8 minutes, I had forgotten I had put it inside of my head.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, I did promise our loyal viewers the Kwanzaa story.
Should we launch with Kwanzaa?
We should launch with the Kwanzaa story because it's an event that lives rent-free in my head, so maybe it'll stick with everybody here more than this episode.
Beautiful. Let's start with Kwanzaa because I think we're going to have time. Go for it.
Great. So my sophomore year of high school, so what you need to understand, like, it was a predominantly white high school. And I made up one half of a total of the 6 black kids in my graduating class, right? Not a lot of us. Okay. And so the principal one year decided to round up the sophomore class and rounded us up, the kids of color, and was like, you're all African, put on a Kwanzaa celebration, which... Yeah, right.
I feel like that would have been awkward even when Dave and I were in high school. Like, that was recently enough. Like, that should have not gone over.
It should have not ever. I mean, sure, African diaspora, but like Caribbean American, Black American, no first gen immigrants directly from Africa or with parents who have direct links to African culture or grew up there and immigrated here. Like, none of that. The first time I had African food was when I was like 28. It was some Ethiopian food. It was delicious. But like, no other, actually no, I never had dinner with her, but I have a friend whose dad is Nigerian. And that's from elementary school. But even then, like, anyway, I'm tangenting, if you will. So he told us that. And we're like, yeah, well, we don't want to get expelled. So might as well do what this man says. Because, not a lot of power on our part. So we put on essentially what is the Fire Festival equivalent of a Kwanzaa celebration. It was so bad. Like, it was so bad. And of course, I love you both, but like, there's some things that just should not be like there. Asian fusion has managed to become a thing. African fusion with like dishes from black kids with a white parent, pomegranate mac and cheese. You know what I mean? Like, that's, was it pomegranate walnut mac and cheese? Like, that should not have happened. Kool-Aid at the Kwanzaa celebration should not have happened. And it was either the proportions were all wrong, because it was either all gelatinous or just way too watery. It was just grape water at that point. Like, It was terrible. It was really terrible. But we tried. We tried, right? Like we tried. We Googled, certain principles, learned how to pronounce Kujichagulia. Like we tried. Okay. Now there is a portion, but this is the part where like proceeds from this show go towards my co-pays for therapy. Because this is the portion at which like, yeah, you'll understand why I'm like this. So during when you kind of make one big Kwanzaa celebration rather than like spread out through the week, and it's like an amalgam of the rituals of each day, there is a portion where you pass around a libation cup and salute your ancestors. So you like pass it around and you say like, oh, like, and you're saluting either someone who went through like a big milestone or someone who passed away, ancestors, that kind of thing. And you say who you're saluting, you take a sip from the libation cup and everybody else responds, Ajay, kind of like, I recognize this, I salute this kind of thing. So we're passing around the libation cup and somebody's like, oh, I want to pass, I want to salute my grandmother who passed away. Sip from the cup, Ajay. Someone just got their master's. My nephew just got his, like one of the parents, like, oh, my nephew just got his master's, salute, Ajay, whatever. And my dad is there. And you guys know the lore of my dad. Yes. An 82-year-old Sephardic Jew who grew up in the hood, a retired jazz percussionist, and married my mother because she looked like Sade.
That is an incredible thumbnail description of a human existence.
Your dad is the sweetest taboo.
The lore. So it gets to my dad. The libation cup makes its way to my dad. And he goes, oh, for my ancestors, I just want to give a shout out to the late great Miles Davis, and sip from the cup. Yeah. And everybody's just kind of like, Ajay? What do you say to that? The kids looking at me like, come get your man. Like, yeah. So,
Now, were you given any guidelines for how to like structure this particular evening, or were you just kind of like, was as so often happens, the onus for education turned over to the students?
We just had to wing it. We did what we could. Okay, like I said, it was Fire Fest, but without the FEMA tents. Like we struggled.
Knowing how uninformed your principal and everyone else in the school would be about Kwanzaa, was there any attempt to slip something in that was not accurate, but that you could have fun with?
Oh God, I don't even think so. I think
is that an evil thought on my part? That it
I
would
wish
have been like, and a part of the Kwanzaa, and a part of the Kwanzaa is that after 2 p.m. we're not allowed to work for any day that the candle is lit, and thus no homework. Like that would have been something I absolutely tried to slip through, just in the chance that the principal would be too afraid to be like, really?
I wish. I really do wish. I really wish. But I think because we were very much like, oh, yeah, we could get expelled because we're insubordinate. Because it was just a not great school environment for minority students. We were just kind of like, all right, we're doing it. We're buckling down. We're going to do it. Yeah.
Wow.
This was
you grew up in Cambridge, right?
I sure did. We don't speak.
It's my naivete. I expect more from Cambridge.
Because listen, man, okay, our city hall has rainbow crosswalks. They kept the BLM flag up in March. Okay, not just February, in March. They kept it going. And yet, it's a nice veneer. It's a nice liberal veneer, but man, oh man, there is work to be done.
Yeah. Cambridge is still a liberal Facebook page run by a white lady. I get it. I get it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Did everyone have a nice Christmas?
Very nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good.
How about
Good,
you?
good, good. I did. It was a nice Christmas. We pushed through. It was good.
Nice. Yeah.
I found the last several years Christmas has gotten more low key, which has been kind of pleasant. It's been kind of pleasant. Like as much as you kind of, and as we talk about TV shows, you get that picture in your head of what you think Christmas is supposed to be, and it's huge, and it's like everybody coming in from out of town and stuff. I found my Christmas getting smaller, and me being more and more okay with that.
That's nice, though.
I think so.
That's nice.
Yeah. I
What
think
about
it's
the
been
gift
good.
wraps?
The what?
Uh, running
What just happened
garbage
at Tookie's
disposal.
house? Oh, okay.
The garbage disposal.
Man, that tell me that didn't look like someone she did not want to enter the room. Just enter the room, Dave.
I know. I thought we were.
That was
like,
not the look of a garbage disposal.
I
just
dialed
felt
the 9 and the 1.
Yeah.
It just felt rude. Okay. It just felt rude. But yeah, we did a little time with the in-laws on the goat farm.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So
Where
it's
was
nice.
that? Was that Montana?
Maine.
Maine. I knew it was one of
Yeah.
those M states.
One of those.
I knew. All right. Let's start talking about the episode. All right, look. It wasn't terrible. Cheers, season 5, episode 11, the Book of Samuel. It was just a weird little episode. It is. I'm assuming Ted Danson was filming 3 Men and a Baby
Had to be
at this
right?
point, and they just had to write an
Oh.
episode because that came out in '87. This is late December '86. I'm like, yeah, he must have been on. He must have been shooting, right? Like, hey, we got some reshoots, got some other things going on, and it's like,
Oh.
look, we're going to give you 1 week to get everything done you need to get done for Leonard Nimoy, and then you come back to us, and you're Jimmy Burrows' boy again. I'm assuming that's the way the exchange happened. Yes,
Nimoy was in Three Men and a Baby.
he directed 3 Men and a Baby.
I did not know that. I've seen that movie
What?
like 4 times. I never knew that.
Leonard Nimoy, the legend. Yes.
Wow.
Directed 3 Men and a Baby. He
Cambridge's
also
own.
directed, yes, Boston's own, the West End.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Boston's own Leonard Nimoy. He was on a hot streak right then because he did 3 Men and a Baby and Star Trek 4. I want to say like within a year of each other, those came out. They were really close together and both huge, huge hits.
My mind is so blown right now.
Same.
Oh, yeah. He was a really good director. He was an excellent director. Yep. 3 Men and a Baby. Talk about, everyone wants to go like, you can't make Blazing Saddles anymore. You can't make 3 Men and a Baby anymore. You can't make a lighthearted comedy about child abandonment anymore. That doesn't happen now.
Yeah, well, the crunchy moms of TikTok will not have it.
Oh, the moms. Oh, social media moms.
You
I will say,
know
though,
what?
when you really do need a plumber, like you go to the mom's page of your local town and you'll get that plumber. You'll track him down. That is the one good thing about the mom's page.
I will say though, like you guys remember my prediction as to how and why I'll get canceled, and it's because of the moms.
Why? Because of the moms.
Oh, because somebody's gonna dig up a tweet I made about how Grimace is Thanos with a third Y chromosome, and the moms are not gonna have it. The moms are gonna cancel me for that.
Nah, they're gonna be fine with that.
You sure?
They're not even gonna get that.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
Okay.
They're gonna
I will say this: I can't understand anyone who gets something. If you book a big pilot, you get Saturday Night Live. If you're close, you gotta delete the old tweets.
You do.
I can't imagine why you wouldn't just go in there, delete that old account, and start fresh. What are you doing? What is an old tweet going to be worth to you? There's no reason to keep them. It's only trouble. Kill the old tweets. We're at a point now as we enter 2023 where I am going to be of the opinion that an old tweet that gets you in trouble is only your fault. It doesn't need to exist. They're not documents that are hidden away in City Hall. It's Twitter. You got to get rid of those now. And delete them.
It doesn't take that much reflection. Like, you can really, like, after about like 3 or 4 minutes, be like, yeah, that was bad. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let's throw the baby with the bathwater and let's start fresh.
So delete that. I think there's a much better chance of you losing out on something big because of season 1 of Norm.
Oh, okay.
Something in there is going to make Lorne Michaels go, nope, can't now.
I said something egregious probably on season. I mean, we were in lockdown.
None of us were all there.
No.
It was a confusing time.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
Our mental state was just, it was different.
Dr. Drew still seemed like he was just quirky. You know, it was a different time.
Oh, and this was, oh man, this was pre the artist formerly known as Mr. West. It was a way different time.
Yeah. I am proud to say that the celiac community hated Dr. Drew way before anybody else did. We were very early on our Dr. Drew hate. Yeah, he had Jennifer Esposito, who's like the celebrity patron saint of the celiac community. And he had her on, and he sucked. He knew nothing about celiac disease, and he honestly treated her like Betty Draper's doctor in an old episode of Mad Men, where it's like, are you sure this is a problem? And yeah. And like every celiac turned on Drew Pinsky immediately. So I reiterate, fuck that guy. All right, which is going to keep me from getting on the Dr. Drew celebrity rehab show I was counting on. Oh, well. No reason to try heroin now. Anyway. Dave. Yeah, it's funny. So, okay, here's a side note. I swear to God, we're going to talk about this fucking TV show. Like, something came up. I was watching something, and Kyle was, like, doing Legos nearby, and it was a movie, like, where somebody overdosed on heroin.
Oh God!
And it was really
that's wholesome family
entertainment. No. It was like it wasn't in the act. Like we weren't watching New Jack City and like what's wrong with Chris Rock? It was
spooky.
It was genuinely like somebody was sad. And it's like what happened? And it's like the anniversary when I lost blah blah blah. And I was like okay. And Kyle was like what happened? I was like he had a drug overdose. It's like what? And then I'm like all right so. He did this thing called heroin. And look, if you remember nothing else, remember this. Nobody's made heroin work. Like other things, I don't want you to do anything but really avoid heroin. No one has like made occasional heroin use work. You know, like a lot of us have the grandparent who's somehow managed to have like 5 whiskey sours a day for his entire life. And you're like, well, not going to stop him now. And we've got like grandparents who are still smoking weed and maybe even a few who could still do a line from now and then. And it's like, look, this is how I get up for the late night party. But there's no grandfather who's still like every once in a while wrapping a belt around his arm and going, let me tell you about the 40s. Nobody's made it work. Nobody's made it work. So yeah, like it was like, all right, I guess I won't try heroin. And I feel like I won as a dad.
I mean, you found a good frame, I think.
I think so.
Discussion.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, now he's been asking about trying beer. And I'm like, nope.
Ooh.
Like, that happened earlier than I expected. He's like, can I try this? I'm like, no.
Did you tell him it tastes disgusting?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a part of me that almost wants him to like take a sip and have it be really shitty now. Like I want to get him some skunked old beer. Like, that's what beer is, IPA.
Get him a top of the line, like super like resiny IPA, and he'll never touch this stuff for the rest of his life.
Perfect.
Or make him drink it through a hot dog straw.
There you go. All right. Speaking of beer. Dave, what was going on when the Book of Samuel came in and left with nobody noticing?
This is going to be another extensive distraction. This episode premiered on December 11th, 1986. The same night as aired the World Wrestling Federation's Primetime Wrestling recording from the Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Was recorded in November, but aired in December. And Mike, I just wanted to read you. There's 6 matches listed here. I just wanted to read you.
I bet I can tell you who won, and I bet I remember some of them. Go, please.
Okay, yeah. Any thoughts you have about any of these the matches? These are quintessentially mediocre 80s TV matches. Match number 1 was Dino Bravo, accompanied with Johnny V, who defeated Pedro Morales.
Don't tell me who won. I can tell you who won.
Okay, sorry.
Just tell me the match, and I'll tell you who won.
All right, Dino Bravo, Pedro Morales.
He clearly beat Pedro. Pedro was at the end of his run at that point. They were in Canada. Dino was still a big deal, and they were trying to make a push for Dino Bravo at that time. Dino won.
Yep, by count out. Looked to be like one of the longer matches of the evening. Jose Luis Rivera and Frankie Lane.
Jose Luis Rivera won that match.
Absolutely. Somehow that went on for 10.5 minutes.
Oh, my God. I love those old matches on Peacock, too, where it's like, look, you lose almost all the time. And then they have 2 jobbers wrestle so that they could say, strong one by the veteran Jose Luis Rivera.
Another jobber matchup par excellence, Paul Roma and Steve Lombardi.
Oh, Paul Roma won that one.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We start to get into the star power now. Mr. X and the Honky Tonk Man.
The Honky Tonk Man won that. And if I am not mistaken, they were trying to push him as a face at that point.
I believe
so he was actually coming in. Yeah, Honky Tonk Man, fun story. Not fun, but a story. Honky Tonk Man had been coming from another territory. He was a quintessential heel. He did it really well. And for whatever reason, Vince McMahon brought him in and said, we're going to make you a good guy. And Honky Tonk Man, Wayne Ferris, was like, I don't think that's a great idea. He's like, I've been really getting a lot of heat as a heel. That's what I do very well. He's like, no. We're going to bring you in. You're going to be a friend of Hulk Hogan. Kids are going to want to get the little sideburns. They're going to wear them on their cheeks. It's going to be because he just saw a lot of merchandising opportunities with the character, the Honky Tonk Man. You could sell guitars, sell costumes. It was going to be great. And people fucking hated the Honky Tonk Man. And then did a beautiful heel turn and was a great villain for the next couple of years. But yeah, it's funny to hear him talk about how Vince said, you're going to be a good guy. And Wayne going, this is going to be a fucking train wreck.
Paul Roma was pressed into double duty. Somebody must have been hurt that night. He had to wrestle again versus Adrian Adonis, managed by, of course, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Adrian Adonis killed him.
Yeah, a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And the final match of the evening, the highlight match of the evening, Butch Reed and Tito Santana.
Okay, Butch Reed and Tito Santana. This is one that could go either way because they were trying to set something up between the two of them when Butch Reed had some heat and there was talk that he was actually going to win the Intercontinental title for a little while. I believe Butch Reed won that match.
You are very close in your initial assessment. They ended in a time limit draw.
Time limit draw. That makes a lot of sense. It's hard to know exactly where they're going with that. Because Tito had just lost the title, so he was still, one of the upper card guys, but also starting to be used to push some of the bigger heels. So yeah, time limit draw between the two of them makes a lot of sense. Butch Reed, he was a good heel.
I have no memory of Butch Reed whatsoever.
He was Hacksaw Butch Reed in the territories, and then he became the natural Butch Reed when he went to WWF. And supposedly, so Ricky Steamboat was Intercontinental Champion. This is the content you all come for. Ricky Steamboat was the Intercontinental Champion, and he was going to be a long-term champion. And then he said, hey, can I have some time off because my wife's having a baby? And Vince went, I'm going to give you some time off. And immediately said, you're going to lose the championship, which is only like 6 weeks after he'd won it. And supposedly Butch Reed was supposed to win it from him. and no-showed the match, did not show up to the taping. And so Honky Tonk Man got the match and won the championship. And he worked so well as a heel Intercontinental Champion, he set the record for the longest Intercontinental title reign. He held it for like 14 months.
Wow.
Until losing
Paul Reed
at Butch Reed.
Butch Reed, sorry.
You're doing a portmanteau of Paul Roma and Butch Reed now.
I'm thinking of 76ers backup center, B-Ball Paul Reed.
When they start dating, they will be known as Paul Reed. All right. That was quite a digression. Tookie, can you tell us about the cold open, please? Although, we should let a whole bunch of young comics know that we talk wrestling for a chunk of this episode. And our numbers are going to soar.
We should. This reminds me of how I was explaining to the man at home the whole saga about Triple H and Stephanie McMahon trying to take over from Vince McMahon and having to explain that Triple H and Stephanie were dating / married. It was, yeah.
It is great. Yeah, the surest way to get two people in the world of wrestling dating is to have them pretend to be a couple. They all wind up getting together. They all get together in real life. It happens every time.
Never fails. Never fails. Anywho, all right, the cold open. I actually enjoyed it, and it tied into sort of my joke of the week, just for the fact that it was so well executed as a callback. So we enter the bar, and Frazier is sitting by himself, and kind of blathering on about the woes of psychiatry to Woody, who's attending to his drinks, and goes, "Well, I'll tell you, Woody, the psychiatric profession can get rough sometimes. If I hear one more person telling me about one more problem, I think I'm going to explode." And Woody says, "I know just how you feel, Dr. Crane." And so Frazier continues. He goes, "Well, I suppose you do. Our professions are just alike. We both have to listen while people unload their grief and suffering. It's more than I can bear, though." And Woody says, "Yeah, I know just how you feel, Dr. Crane." Frazier says, "Well, if only I had your ability to listen to a person's problems and sympathize while going calmly and happily." "How do you do it, Woody?" To which Woody responds, "I know just how you feel, Dr. Crane." So Frazier's like, "You're not listening to me, are you?" "I know just how you feel, Dr. Crane." And to test out his theory, Frazier goes, "Oh, well then, how about a double Scotch rocks? Coming right up." Roll credits.
Woody Boyd, professional.
Yes.
All right, the Book of Samuel. We basically are just going to have one storyline this week. We're just going to push through.
You don't count the psychic as a B plot?
I don't count the what?
The psychic as a B plot?
No, that's a line. That's a throwaway. If it had been referenced even one more time, I would have given you a C plot.
It was,
but no,
though.
that's a line. No, that's a line. Okay. I'm sorry. There's no B plot this week. There is no B plot. Sam calls everyone into his office, and this week's episode made me understand why they were so convinced when Ted Danson said, "I'm not playing Sam anymore." They said, "Then Cheers is over." There was never a talk about continuing on without Ted Danson. Because the best scene in this week's episode is the one with Ted Danson in it. When they're in the office, Sam calls him in and says, "Hey, I'm going fishing, and so I need to pick one of you to be in charge of the bar." And they have a whole funny scene about how Sam is going to pick them. There's one potato, two potato. There's my dog died last night. What color was his blood? Which I never did in real life, but this episode made me kind of want to do it. And then they did the bat, and the knob does count as part of the bat. Sam ends up choosing Woody to do it because he's the only non-annoying one. And then Ted Danson is gone for the rest of this episode in Toronto to film with Steve Guttenberg, Tom Selleck, and a ghost baby. So
what?
They are there. Oh, it's supposedly, there's a dead baby, a dead kid in a scene from 3 Men and a Baby. But it's not. It's actually just a cutout. But it became folklore forever before there was the internet, and you could just look up on the internet and be like, "Oh, that's what that is." But yeah, that was this weird reference point for like 20 years. Hey, it's a 3 Men and a Baby kid. Yeah. Yeah. And the story that went behind it was the apartment they were filming in, that a kid had died in that apartment and he was haunting the apartment. And so his ghost appeared in the movie. Yeah, but it's not. It's just a cutout of Ted Danson that shows up later on in the movie. And this is the mood I wanted to put everybody in for my description for the rest of the time. So they leave. Woody gets a letter from his girlfriend Beth from Better Off Dead. Great movie, by the way, if you've not seen it. Actually, I haven't seen it in a little while, so maybe don't take my recommendation for it because there could be something in there that I now find awful. But I remember enjoying it. Gets a letter from Beth, gathers everyone around because Beth is such a great letter writer. And of course, it is a letter saying, this is the hardest letter I've ever had to write. I've fallen in love with someone. We're getting married and we're going to go to Niagara Falls, which is I think I'm going to go with that as my 80s thing of the week. I was thinking about something else, but I feel like you guys are going to cover it. My 80s thing of the week was going to Niagara Falls to get married. I don't know anyone who currently uses that as a reference point now. That was an 80s thought, that was where you went to get married and honeymooned. It was used in this episode. It was used in Superman 2. It was referenced in Happy Days. It was in lots of stuff. Dave, you remember this, yes?
Absolutely. Superman 2 was the first place my mind went.
Yep. Absolutely. And if you have a chance, watch the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. It's very good. Much better. Have you ever seen it, Dave?
Not the Donner cut, no.
Donner cut, very good.
Really?
Very good. Less jokes. Yeah, Brando is in the Donner cut. Oh yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in the Donner cut. Very much worth your time. Take a look. It makes a lot more sense too. Yeah, it's good. None of that Paris shit is in there. It's just very good. Anyway, yeah, fuck Paris, which I can say because I'm French. Fuck all you frogs. Moving on.
Wow.
Dude, there's so little stuff I get to do. That's mine. Yeah. Oh, I'm worried about fighting you because we have such a great history of winning. Anyway, moving on.
We went from 0 to 120 kilometers very fast.
Woo!
I'm not afraid of anybody. Yeah. I got liters of this shit for you. That's what I'm
coming in hot. We are 3 days into the year, sir.
Yep, I'm at peak Mike right now. I'm gonna be tired in February, but right now I've still got a little vim.
Okay.
Post World Cup, Mike is spicy.
Yes.
I'm still feeling that loss. Still feeling it. All right. So finds out in the letter that has everyone read it. Finds out that she's going to Niagara Falls to get married. He says, "Boy, this is as good as her usual ones," which is my joke of the week. There were a lot of nothing really knocked me on my ass this week, but I loved Woody's delivery of that line. So that's going to be my joke of the week this week. This is as good as her usual ones. She is going to be stopping in on her way to Niagara Falls to speak to him face to face, which is it's a lot. There were so many moments in this week that made me go like, you don't need to do that. What is happening here? Why is this being done this way? It feels like one of those episodes of TV that was written in a way that no one would ever actually do anything just to create plot points. And I just didn't enjoy it very much. Anyway, she's going to be coming in. Oh, what do we do? Woody's thinking, you know what? I need to have a girlfriend here to make her not feel sorry for me. That will be good. That'll be a lot better. So he's hitting on women in the bar. They're all turning him down, which, I'm sorry, Woody Harrelson's a good-looking dude. I know they're saying things, he's introducing himself in ways I was thinking about, like, killing myself and instead of, like, take you out to dinner. And I'm sorry, I've been in enough bars to know that line would have worked on at least one woman in that bar. Someone would have gone out to dinner with Woody Harrelson that night.
No.
Anyway,
really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One woman would have been like, well, let me save your life. I'm telling you, that would have happened. Anyway, Woody's trying to figure out what to do, and they're saying, oh, Sam could have helped you. Well, Sam's not here, but his inventory is. And this is somehow like Woody becomes Joe Rogan in this episode. It's really weird. It's okay, yeah. You know what to do with Sweet Tina Wilson. That's right. You have her, use her, and throw her away. And even like with Woody trying to be a man, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Woody. And Sweet Tina Wilson is actually in the room and leaves, and okay. And even that, like, it was just felt like she's right there. Like somehow you open to the W's, and that woman happens to be right there at the bar in this moment. It just felt like some lazy writing this week. I'm sorry. Anyway, They find Desiree Harrison, all these stars. She's the best. Calls her, invites her out to dinner, shows up. It turns out it's Sam's cleaning lady. Beth is there. I'm sorry. I'm going out of order a little bit. So at first, before that even happens, Beth and Leonard. I like Leonard. I feel really bad for Leonard because, Beth doesn't really love him. She just wants to get married. Poor Leonard. Like that poor son of a bitch. I feel very bad for Leonard. Anyway, they are there saying, "Oh, it's too bad." He's making. So Diane makes up a girlfriend for him, is going on and talking about her. And saying, "Oh, it's too bad you're leaving because we could have had dinner tonight." Well, our plane's not leaving until midnight. You're plane to Niagara Falls from Boston? What the fuck is happening here? Anyway,
you gotta get there by 3 a.m. to really catch the mist.
What flight is this? Anyway,
let's be Spirit.
I guess. Yeah, it's just this is the writing that's there throughout the whole episode. All right, so that's when he has to find the woman to somehow have dinner with them. It's going to be Desiree. Turns out it's the cleaning lady. They show up. She's doing a bunch of stuff. Somehow he decides to start pretending that she's going to go to dinner with him. And she's like, "You want to take me to dinner?" "Okay, well, let's go." They don't show the dinner, but she thinks she's been hired to be the cleaning lady. She's at dinner with these people. That's not going to come up at any point in that whole dinner. None of this makes sense. They come back down. Somehow the ruse has continued the whole time. Oh, somebody said something about dancing. She's like, "Oh, you want to take me dancing? I hope my knees hold out." She goes to the bathroom. Woody gets some drinks. Woody is talked into confessing by Diane. They are talking for a little while. And Beth says, "Yeah, I had a feeling that it wasn't actually your girlfriend." Which, you know what? Screw you, Beth. Why did you suggest dancing then? If you knew, why are you burying poor Woody in this? You've already dumped him to marry Leonard. Like, you can tell this isn't working. Why are you trying to make him go dancing? Let them out of this, would you? Oh, Beth. Like, Beth, I liked Beth so much before this, and now I'm like, why would you do this to him? And again, I get back to the writer's room just took this week off. Like, I kind of suspected that it was, when she forgot your name. Okay. Leonard comes back. They decide to leave. For some inexplicable reason, the guys in the bar start making fun of Desiree, which these are all blue-collar guys. Like, I don't understand why that happens. It feels like just writing to a moment. Oh, we want to have a moment between Woody and Desiree here. So one of you guys just make fun of her for no reason. All right. And then, she comes out like, "Oh, I feel like, no, you got trapped into this, and I'm going to let you off the hook." And Woody says, "Actually, I need a friend to talk to. Can we go talk somewhere? This isn't going to be one of those May December romances, is it?" "Well, December's no good with the holidays coming up, but May can work." End of the episode. And it was just a lot of that. It was just writing to an outcome that you thought you needed. It's funny. During these recaps, sometimes I realize I feel more strongly about something than I thought. I disliked this one more than I thought I did. I kind of thought it was mediocre, and then I kept pointing out these plot points, and I'm like, what the hell was that? That's not real.
It also, like, I feel, and this episode was written by Fief Sutton, who's written, some non-Charles episodes over the last few years, and he's going to end up being, I think, an executive producer. But he gets kind of pulled in for some of these fill-in duties, and I think we've kind of remarked on episodes that he's written before where he just doesn't get it in the way that the Charleses get it, in the way that Heidi Perlman gets it. I felt like there was kind of like a fundamental misreading of the main characters in this, Woody especially.
Yeah. And I get the idea of Woody trying to, he's hurt and he's trying to put on a show, but to have him use her and throw her away, like does that jibe with the guy who later on is worried about his mom finding out that he's like not being completely honest with Desiree?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's inconsistent and it bothers me.
Or the way he I hated the use of that phrase, when Woody said, "Oh, Sam's not here, but his inventory is." That's not like a Woody thing to say. That's like a whole gross, intelligent, gross metaphor that that character would never use.
No, Yeah, Woody would never say his inventory. Yeah.
No, that was really gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Super uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable. All right, let's run through some categories here. I think Tookie and I both on our jokes of the week. Dave, what's your joke of the week?
I'm going to give my joke of the week to Catherine McGrath, who played Desiree Harrison, who I really liked, and I thought like she just did Winchester native, by the way, so not faking the accent. I thought she did a great job, and I thought she like looked the part, and like the only way I could sort of like make sense of this episode was to say like, oh, okay, this is clearly the smartest person in the room. She knows kind of what's going on and chooses to go along with it to help out this dumb kid. And that I was like, all right, that reading on it kind of helped make the episode more palatable for me. And I'll give her my joke of the week, which is when Beth introduces her fiance. You know, this is my fiance Leonard. She says so.
That was a very fun delivery. Yeah, that was fun. All right, I did my 80s thing of the week. Dave, what's your 80s thing?
Oh man, this whole thing felt kind of 80s. I'll go with Beth's hair. I don't know what you call that thing when the hair is straight and then it goes like up at the bottom and curves in. What's that called?
I think it's a bump.
I don't know.
Is it a bump?
This might be one we need Kelly for. Kelly will know. Like
Kelly,
I kept looking at it, I would like call it like a bell cut, but I don't know. I guess maybe a bell would sweep out. I don't know.
Kelly actually has that haircut, something close to it in real life. But this was this was one that clearly took a lot of like TV work to kind of like get that level of up sweep at the bottom. So that I really got hung up on. Because I wasn't that into the words of the episode. I really got hung up looking at her hair and wondering how it was doing what it was doing. So I'll give Beth's hair.
All right. All right. Tookie, your 80s things of the week.
I agree with Niagara Falls because that felt something that felt like something I'd seen like on just like even cartoons from back in the day.
Yeah.
Either somebody was going over Niagara Falls in a barrel or getting married.
Love that one.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Or getting married at Niagara Falls. So the other things that I clocked, the misogyny of this episode. Woof! Like not gonna fly in this day and age. And it felt like the way in which they talked about women felt adjacent to cassavas, bazongas, whatever, right? Body part talk. A Dear John letter. Not really something that you see much. The fact
not on paper.
Not on paper. And even then, you know, some people break up via text or email if you're classy, or some people just ghost, right? So a Dear John letter really felt like something of a fleeting time, because even I think by late 80s to 90s, we weren't quite using snail mail anymore for those purposes. Psychics in the newspaper, or just those kinds of sensational stories in the newspaper in general. And it's not that it doesn't happen anymore. It's not completely 80s per se. It's that the practice, or like the way in which one picks up women in bars has changed. It's changed. So you don't necessarily go around from woman to woman in the same way with the same pickup line.
Yeah. No, you sit in a bar and you swipe on your phone. Exactly.
So those are the things that I kind of picked up on that are very much of a time, maybe not specifically 80s, but definitely not of today.
Nice. How white was this episode, Ms. Kavanaugh?
Oh man, it was a Cambridge episode in that it had a veneer of diversity, but not quite the numbers to match it, due to the use of repeated extras. And also, how the hell does time move in the universe of Cheers? Because it was like, oh, they must be here now, and then Woody's ex and Leonard show up, and then let's have dinner at 7 because our flight's at midnight. How the hell does time move, right?
No, the dinner was at 8.
Date was it at 8?
Yeah, they were going to have dinner at 8 and then go dancing, and their flight left at midnight. What the hell is with these people? I mean, obviously this is pre 9/11, and you could get to the airport later, and it was a little easier. But still, Jesus Christ!
I know.
Also, where are they going? Like in this 3-hour window, as Woody's trying to find a date. Like, are they going to the MFA or something? Like, what is happening?
I don't know. Time and space move. I mean, time is already fake. I kind of got in trouble on TikTok for saying that. But the man-made construct of time is already fake, but the way in which we perceive it is a whole separate thing, and the way in which it moves and the laws of physics in the Cheers universe seem to be laws unto themselves. Space and time mean nothing in their universe. But essentially this episode takes place over the course of one day, and as a result we have a lot of repeated extras in multiple scenes. So in the cold open, one ethnic man, I'm not sure of his ethnicity, but one spicy ethnicity person by the jukebox in the first scene, which is just Sam and company in his office, no people of color. Scene 2, 2 black men at the bar, a black man in the hallway, another ethnic man at the back wall, and an Asian woman at the upper booths. In scene 3, we have 3 repeated extras plus 2 black women at the other upper booth, a black man who walked down from the booth, a black man who entered, and a black woman behind the Diane at the bar. And scene 4, all those repeats again, with another black woman and Asian woman behind Norm, a black man at the door by Sam's office door. Oh no, I'm sorry, not Sam's office, the entry door next to Carla, who lifts her up when she says no more speeches. Scene 5, all the same repeats, and then a black man by the stairs to Melville's and another black man by the jukebox. And in scene 6, everyone repeated. So 16 in total, when not accounting for how many repeats appear in a scene. So it felt more diverse than it actually was.
Yeah. It was a Cambridge. It was a Cambridge. All right. Any final thoughts before we put the Book of Samuel to bed?
I will say that I did like that last little scene between Woody and Beth. I thought that was it didn't redeem the episode, but I thought they kind of at least redeemed the Woody Beth arc. This character that we gotten to see. We got to understand. We got to see a little bit of depth into her and what she was going through, and it didn't save this episode from its misogynistic kind of pull, but it did. That scene did succeed in sort of giving Beth a little bit of depth and interest as a character. And then I was really grateful that they brought back that the last scene and the last words were given to Desiree. So those moments I actually liked and thought were, I think the writing was pretty, you're right, was pretty loose this week, but those scenes I did like.
Good. All right. Let's put this one to bed. The Book of Samuel.
2 questions, though.
Yes.
2 questions, though. Do we count Desiree's accent as a Boston moment? Is it Boston enough, or is it just kind of oh, this is a person from Winchester kind of doing a towny accent?
I guess, yeah. It's probably laid on a little thick.
A little.
It's she grew up in Winchester, making fun of people in Boston, and that's the accent that she would throw on. I could call that a Boston moment.
Okay. And then the second question, is Niagara Falls a meme?
I think.
Okay.
It was a meme. That's why it's an 80s thing to me. It would not be a meme now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a shorthand for romance and passion and early stages of passion, honeymoons, things like that. I think absolutely it kind of is a stand-in image that suggests that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I go right back to that Superman 2 bedroom with the polar bear rug and the
I want to stay in that room.
Right?
Love that room.
Incredible room.
I need to look that room up.
You will miss that in the Donner cut. That room is not in the Donner cut. It is
Donner cut versus Snyder cut.
I mean, it's hard to say because the Joss Whedon Justice League was close to unwatchable.
Okay.
It really was terrible. And then the Snyder Cut was too fucking long, but it was good. I actually enjoyed the Snyder Cut. I was like, there's a movie here. I get what they're going for. I don't hate this. It was much better. It was much better than the Whedon Cut.
I watched it over like 5 nights, just like 45 minutes a night. And I was like, this is the best miniseries I've ever watched.
Yeah. It was good. It was really good. Yeah. The thing about the Lester cut versus the Donner cut of Superman 2 was the Lester cut was a little too jokey, but at the same time, it was a gigantic hit that we all loved. We all loved the original Superman 2. It was a really, really big movie when it came out, and everyone enjoyed it. I think the Donner cut is better. The Superman 2 is the one where the 3 Kryptonian villains come to Earth to take it over, and Superman gives up his powers for a little while because he's fallen in love with Lois.
Does he do the thing where he spins around the world and goes back in time? Is that the one?
That was the first one.
What about the Fortress of Solitude with Gene Hackman?
That's in both of them. Oh, Fortress of Solitude with Gene Hackman is the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
but
I did see this.
That is the downside of the Donner cut. But I'm going to give too much away. But yeah, see the Donner cut and we'll talk about it.
I'll watch it.
Okay.
Have a Donner party. Get some people together.
I feel like that means something that I should clear up from my search history. Should I clear my search history after I look that up?
It's no. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, don't eat right beforehand, but that's all I will say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's all I'll tell you.
I'm still holding out for the Snyder butthole cut of Cats. Cats, I think, is my favorite movie of the past decade. I don't care. It's terrible, and I love it.
Yeah. It's on HBO, and I feel like I kind of want to see it.
We own it, so come over anytime.
It is so bad. It's so bad. It's art because it's so bad.
Wow. Dave, was that a Yankee swap gift? How did you wind up owning Cats?
We own it digitally because my daughter saw it, because I took her to it, because I'm a great fucking dad, and loved it so much that when it became available, I was like, let's purchase this, because also your mother needs to see what I had to go through.
There you go.
Yes.
Great dad.
Please light up some cigars for me.
I 100% agree with you that movie is art, because it absolutely elicits a powerful physical and emotional reaction from me, which is nauseous.
Kids have no taste.
None.
Although I will say I was proud of my son. He made us walk out of Avatar this week. So
wow.
Props. Yeah.
You guys left?
We did. He was like, fuck this movie. And it's funny. He didn't say it, but he was thinking it. He's really wanting to swear these days. So we kind of were like, we're looking for a movie to see. And he had never been to an IMAX. We're like, he was like annoyed. He got annoyed with Avatar because they saw the trailers for forever. And he got sick of it. And the first trailer had no words. And there was no story. It was just like, look at this Pandora. And he got so tired of seeing that trailer. And then it was in the commercials. He's like, ugh. And he said, you know what? Here's the thing. Avatar's not a great movie, but when you see it in IMAX, like we all went to it a couple of times because it's like, whoa, what a world he created. I said, it might be worth it to see it in IMAX. And he hadn't seen an IMAX movie. And he's like, all right, let's try it. And we're like an hour and a half in.
You made the commitment.
He's
just wanting to light himself on fire. He's so unhappy.
This is a child who 2 weeks or a week ago was at a Sub-Zero Patriots game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he stayed. He stuck it out.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I don't know if this is my imagination. There are things, so sometimes I wonder if I imagine them because they're funnier this way. But there was a line in the movie where one of the characters goes, "The way of water has no end."
Yeah.
And I feel like I heard Kyle go, like I was like, did I imagine that or did that happen because I wanted it to happen? And it was just going on so long. And I finally looked at him being so unhappy. And I looked up on Wikipedia how long it was. and it was over 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, we can leave. We can go if you want. It's like, no, we can stay. And I was like, listen, dude, it's only like halfway over. It's a long movie. He's like, what? I said, yeah, all right, we can go. We can go. Come on. And we left Avatar: Way of Water.
Yeah. We just saw it in 3D the other day. And it's a $1 billion screensaver. I bet that whole set, if it wasn't for the CGI, I bet that whole set would have smelled like fish. Because my God. Oh God.
Terrible.
Yeah. And I get the appeal in that, like, ooh, look at the pretty 3D and look at the whole world. Because I didn't see the original in theaters. And I completely forgot what the hell even was going on in the original.
Yeah.
It's so
no one remembers what happened. It's a story.
No.
There's nothing there. It was the highest grossing movie of all time, and it was nobody's favorite movie. Like, no one talked about it afterwards. There was nobody who was like, oh yeah, Avatar. It's on Disney Plus. I gotta watch that again. Nobody cared. Nobody cared about this movie. But he was kind of, to James Cameron's credit, he was the first one to really see what you could do with IMAX.
Yeah.
And we all went for that. And I mean, it's going to make $1 billion again. So I guess it's worth it. But holy shit. Like, he's such a great storyteller that I'm annoyed that he's wasting basically the last third of his life on these movies. He's going to make 5 of these. And I'm just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
How dare you not do another good movie?
It's the world's longest video game cutscene. We sat through the whole thing, and my God, yeah.
All right. Well, Avatar: The Way of Water seems like a good way to put the ribbon on this week's episode of the Book of Samuel. All right. Anything to plug?
Or how about a positive water film, Wakanda Forever?
That is kind of a water film.
Water done right.
Loved it.
Yeah. I love that the note of positivity is the one where a beloved actor actually died.
Oh,
and they're all dealing with the repercussions of it. It's like, that's the happiest note of the episode this week.
I tried.
But you know what I saw this week was the Black Jeopardy with Chadwick Boseman, and that was an all-timer.
Oh God, it's so funny.
Oh, gotta watch it. If you haven't seen it in a while, watch that one again. Perfection. Unbelievable. Oh my God, it's so good. All right, anything to plug?
Nothing here.
Okay.
I feel like I'm doing something.
Well, people feel like you saw something.
I'm enjoying the week.
What is that?
It turns out I don't have anything going on. I'm enjoying my week off.
There you go. Enjoy it. Rest. All right. We'll be back next week. Well, it is the last episode before the biggie. It's a fun episode if I remember correctly. And then it is Sam and Diana Palooza. Woo, baby. It's going to be a hot January. All right. For Tookie and Dave, I'm Mike. Happy New Year, everybody. Stay safe. Bye.